What is Hypercycle? Hypercycle enables AI systems to communicate and collaborate efficiently. Currently, this process is slow and costly. Hypercycle improves this by offering a secure global connection system with verifiable identities without depending on centralized parties. It provides a safe platform for AI to interact directly without intermediaries. For more information, go to hypercycle.ai.
My name is Nick. I am here with Toufii Saliba. It is the year in review. Well, kind of. It could be also the looking forward. Toufii, what's
Right.
going on?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it is New Year's Eve tonight. It's amazing to see you on New Year's Eve, and it's great to talk to phenomenal community members and whatnot about this year, because I feel like 2023 has been great to have what I call the conversions, where a lot of the years of research from many different researchers were able to put them together. Uh, um, if I say in a phenomenal, cohesive way, I would be lying. There's a lot of stuff that we needed to kind of like bend and put together one way or another. But it's a great outcome so far. A lot of things to look forward to, and I think the things to look forward to with a lot of humbleness come with a lot of learning that we did in this 2023. So we didn't just succeed at some stuff by getting that convergence of many different projects and scientific progress from many different perspectives. We're able to put them together. We're able to learn a lot of stuff that we hope to apply them in 2024, along with bringing in some of the fruition to many stakeholders from many different aspects to continue driving that ship forward and grow. So I think we're closing this year with a very solid. If you were to look publicly or whatnot, you would find that it's like, oh, these guys have like 50, 100,000 followers or whatnot. But I truly, truly think that it's about 5,400 solid holders of whether it is the licenses or the HYPC or whatnot, or supporters that they're active, and the rest, they're perhaps appreciating and they're about to come. So like, and then maybe we will have 50,000 by end of next year. Maybe we'll have 500,000 by end of next year. Whatever it is, if you're listening to this, you're amongst the 0.001% that it's about to burst to the rest of the world with what we've been working on for decades, and not just an overnight success. If you were to talk to Ben Gortzel, he would tell you 25 years. If you were to look at the very first time I've mentioned AI decentralizes is 10 years and 6 months ago. And there's a lot of things, a lot of projects that we were able to bring them all together to build this thing that is called Hypercycle. And it seems like all roads keep leading to that Hypercycle, including some announcement that I would like to make on this show.
Ooh, okay, wait, before you make the announcement, what do you think was the most challenging thing from the TGE event, the token generation event in May until now? What was the most challenging thing that you guys faced?
I think the getting the understanding across sometimes, that's which brings me to Daniel Schmachtenberger. One of the things that he said, that in our civilization we suffer from the misalignment, and I think he's right from that perspective. I don't necessarily agree with many of his solutions. He doesn't even agree with his own solutions. He's still working on many different ways of how he can solve it. I mean, but the problem is very well identified. The misalignment, we suffer from it in our civilization. However, I don't want to say it that it's in a way that it's complaining. I'm just saying that you're asking what's the most difficult thing. That is the most difficult thing. Sometimes we were trying to explain a solution for certain problem, and certain people, they don't necessarily get it, or they would get the opposite effect of it, which is okay. Not every time we speak, folks are expected to understand. But it's very challenging because we have to realize that sometimes you have to do some unlearn to do the relearn. Like, for example, when we say we're doing the HYPC utility is on the actual Torah chain, which is on the actual network of the internet. People, they still see it as if it is like, oh, it is being locked, so it's not being used. It's the complete opposite of what's actually happening. And the reason for that is because there's the whole, I would say more like the confirmation bias due to a lot of learning that folks they have from existing chains in their tokens. When they perhaps some people they use a smart contract to lock them, they only lock them to reduce the supply as opposed to they're doing anything with them. They're just reducing the supply. Meanwhile, we are truly freeing them to get them to actually do the work, which has been thanks to that we were able to start the tilling, for example, early October. So there's a lot of things to make sure that folks understand that this HYPC, I say it with a 100% certainty, it has phenomenal utility that is unprecedented in the computer science world. If it was existing before, somebody enlighten me. So far, with all my knowledge, with everyone that I know, with all the 100+ PhDs that we work with, nobody's ever seen that capability before, and we're introducing this capability. So we truly,
And Toufii, just to clarify, we're talking about the native token, not
correct.
the Ethereum or the Binance placeholder. Those are just placeholder tokens until this thing rolls out, kind of mainnet compute era, late first quarter, and then you will see the true nature of the native asset as it's functioning, and that's kind of what you're referring to.
Correct, and it is the native asset that is actually sitting on the nodes that it's enabling the tilling since October. It is the same native asset that would be used as a container to take value back and forth. That's the thing that is still not possible with any computer science book that you can find on the world today with any computer scientist. It's not something that's like, oh yeah, these guys are doing something this way, and then now they're just like getting another,
this isn't just a pivot from some other keen idea.
Correct. It's not like, oh, let's do another SMS app, or let's do another, another ledger-based blockchain, or another whatever things. This is at its core that component that it's able to hold value and transmit value without having to depend on any third party whatsoever is unprecedented. And this is what we are putting the power of HYPC, because sometimes people they may want to transmit dollars, sometimes the people they want to transmit Bitcoin, sometimes they want to transmit euros, sometimes they want to transmit their own money or whatnot. They can do it without having to depend on that third party using that HYPC container. So of course, just as a quick reminder, if you don't mind, just want to touch on this. It takes like maybe 1 minute, but that's important because sometimes people, they would be like, why would you need that in the world of AI? Well, anything that works, anything, not just anyone, if you work, whether you are AI or whether you are a person or an entity or company, that work that you do, you expect to be compensated for, because otherwise, why would you want to do it? Even if you're whatever it is, like, you're not just gonna do it because you just want to do it. And this is the world that we live in. And if it's done otherwise, it would contradict the laws of physics. Like, somebody would go and have unlimited amount of like computing power, unlimited amount of lights, or unlimited amount of like gasoline, unlimited. There's expending energy and matter and time. You would need some compensation. So if you have certain machine that is running AI computation, and it does this AI computation, it needs to get paid. Now, how do you pay it? Like, literally, like, how would you actually pay? Do you take like a penny and go give it to it? It doesn't. It doesn't go in, right? So, or if you were to use some existing system that us, Homo sapien, we were okay with, such as, let's say, a ledger or like a bank or a registry or government or whatnot, it is extremely, extremely slow to depend on a third party. It doesn't matter how you swing it. And when you actually depend on a third party, you need to always look at what happens when it doesn't work. Do you expect those little AI things to go to court and be like, yo, we're gonna like
and third parties love to get paid rent.
Right, rent, and they sometimes hold you hostage. And if they hold you hostage, then what do? Like if a human sending another human and the bank is in the middle, and the bank doesn't do this for whatever reason, and people, they're like, oh, that never happens. It happens. It actually happens 70% of the time if you look at the history of our civilization. So 70% of the banks that they existed, they did it. So it's like, if they were to hold you hostage, what do? Like, you can take them to court. We can tolerate this kind of thing, us Homo sapien, and it's a slow justice system. But if you want to have an efficient justice system, to have like one machine asking another machine, they need to be able to talk to one another, have like that tiny little contract, and effectuate that in less than a second. And if it's gonna take any time more than that, or if it's going to have any connection to a third party, it will not work. And if it did, a lot of people would have been doing it. So how do you take this penny from here and send it there? And why would you want to do that? Well, this guy's done the work, expects to be paid. Now, often this one is asking for the work. If this guy comes in and says like, here, will you do this work for me? Well, there's this dilemma. If this guy pays the other one that penny, this one might take the penny and run away. Remember, those like our little AI things, there's like billions of them on the internet. It's like, it's not like you're gonna find out who's the parents of this guy, where does he live or whatnot, and just disappear, right? So they've taken the money and gone. But the other problem is that, like, if this guy says like, can you do the work, I'll pay you later? Well, this guy might do the work and this guy might take off or might never pay him. It'd be like, so the way that HYPC solves this, it takes this penny in that contract that has all the necessary questions or requests to do the work, and it says, this penny is yours. You can only spend it if you have done that work, if you have a cryptographic proof that you've done the work. And you're going to have to append that for the life of this penny. You're going to have to stamp it with the proof of the work that you've done. Otherwise, you cannot spend it again. It's already been flagged that it has some work to be done on it. So that's effectively, or simplifying, that's what it does, and that's why it's extremely important to transmit that knowledge to as many people as possible. And the more people that dig into it, they find out how it's actually done. Because in order for this to be done, if it's done without having any third party whatsoever, can it do it without having something global? And the answer is no. There still has to be something global, but it's not a third party. That thing that is global is effectively, there is a hash, cryptographic hash function, which results in about 32 characters if you want to look up. But there's that 32 characters that every 3 seconds is appended to every single device that is in a network. That's extremely, extremely important. Otherwise, people can lie to you if they're going to be doing this. But this one can have a copy of himself in another continent and do it in the same time. That's called double spend. So that's a necessity. So yeah, that's been the most difficult thing, is propagate that knowledge. But the most beautiful satisfaction comes from also that difficult thing when people, they get it and they come and back and tell it to me, which is, I'm like, wow, it's awesome, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward how 2024 is going to unfold.
Okay, now with that in mind, you had something you wanted to say.
Yes, of course. So in this year, we have, as everybody knows, like we've raised money when people, they said it's called like a bear market or whatnot, and we exceeded all expectations. We've got about 310% on the seed, 270% on the private, and then we went with a $230 million valuation day one, that people, they said that you're crazy, you're going in this bear market, it's going to crash. But due to phenomenal community, I think it's been holding quite nicely for the last. We've been over $1 billion basically for the last 6 months. So it's July 1st is when we started hitting the billion, and since then it's been over $1 billion. So it's a great. I think it's a great community. So it's good to see that the money that we raise, we use it to build and build and build, and we've been building a lot of phenomenal products. But it's also the money that we get from revenue. We've been using it to invest into a lot of companies. We invested in 11 companies, and the last one, which I've mentioned to you before, but it's probably nice to show you what I'm expecting. And I was truly hoping that I would have that product with me here, but New Year's came and the product is not with me just because it takes time for shipment. But when I have it with me, it would look like this. This is it's a ring. It's the Hyper ring. It has about 10 NFCs in it. This Hyper ring will have about 4.3 billion globally unique NFTs in it. It's capable of doing about 524,000 withdrawals in its life, and over 500 million transactions. So it's quite fascinating, that ring, why we invested in this ring, and effectively we care so much about security. And we know that the current AI that Hypercycle bringing into the world is owned by this community that is here. And we have about 5,500 people. We've grown to be 500,000 people. We care so much about each and every one of the community members that we feel like, as this grows, if this machine is going to make you $100 a month, it's not so much. But if it's going to make you $100,000 a month, that's a lot of money. People are going to try to steal that from you. You need to add that security, and having that additional ring, you tap it on those machines, or you tap it on your phone to actually withdraw the money as an added layer of security. People can appreciate that. So that's from our perspective why it is strategic investment. Now, what did they want to do with it? One of them is towards the health. Remember, we're investing in companies, and we built that. They wanted to do something else. They wanted to track enable people to track their own health system. And many people around the world, they don't necessarily have the ability to have the phone to be on the entire time to do those kind of things. And somebody's passing out on the road, how can you track their health history? The ring is indestructible, and it's kind of cool. Now, the ring is on its way to me as we speak. In the next week is this week in Hypercycle, I'll be able to show it to you. But there's also the newer version of the ring that is being worked on, is a little bit more indestructible, and looks something like this.
Oh, that's cool.
And there could be some versions of it that looks like that. And this is covering all of the NFCs. And then there's certain partnerships that we would be able to announce later on the ring. But so far, that's as much as I can disclose. That
and quickly, Toufii, can you just specify
Hyper ring companies to bring it global with or without Hypercycle for many different reasons, for health, for micropay, and for all of these things that people are doing it for. But from our perspective, we care so much about securities. We feel like we invest some money in them. We end up getting that huge percentage in that joint ventures, up to about 30% that we invest. And our investment that goes through Core Excel gives us another percentage, and we grow that, and then we see how they can roll it out to the world. We try to get as much exposure as possible, but if they're gonna have like 1 million people next year wearing that ring, we certainly don't expect to have 1 million owners of AI. It probably, maybe if we're lucky, if we get 100,000, that's great. But it gives us the ability to have more penetration and
Toufii,
more security.
Quick, can you just explain on the ring?
I think you're on mute.
Say, oh, hold on.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I cannot hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm not sure. I can't hear you.
Okay. Well,
You can hear me,
yes.
and I cannot hear you. So
Ah.
I don't know what do we chat, or is your voice gonna be in recording? Hopefully,
Yes, it will be in
it
the
will be the
recording.
recording.
It
Okay.
will, yes, everything.
Okay. So whoever's watching this, you're able to hear both Nick and I, but I'm not able to hear Nick. So it's able to kind of read his nonverbal expressions and his gestures. So that's the latest and greatest of the 11 companies that we invested in, and we invite folks to let us know of how we can grow, all of us, and it would be nice to get to that 500,000 owners by the end of next year. If we can get to 100,000, that's fine as well. There's a lot of work to be done, but I promise you all, the moment we get to that 100,000 owners plus, that is our inflection point. That is the point that we would be entering a moment that it's irreversible, that each and every one of you'd be able to tell the rest of the world that you were part of this first, because this is going to reach the rest of the world. So we got to go from that 5,000 to 100,000. So help us get there. Nick,
Well,
I think this is it.
I guess this
Thanks
is it.
again for being fabulous this entire year, and thanks for all your community, and looking forward more things to come in a new year.
All right, everybody. We'll
Happy New
see you
Year.
next time. Happy New Year.
Do you trust your crypto assets to centralized exchanges that actively sell your private information and front-run your trades? Would you like to buy and sell your assets without any middlemen, intermediaries, or robots? Do you like paying slippage, fees, and having the price go up as bots steal from you on low-liquidity decentralized exchanges? The solution is nodemarket.io. Set your guaranteed buy or sell price. No middlemen, no slippage, no bots, ever. Buy or sell 1, 10, or even 10 million tokens, and you never have to worry. OTC trades are between you and the seller or buyer, guaranteed by audited smart contracts and no human middlemen. Nodemarket.io.